You can teach anybody to pass a test. Does that mean they're good inspectors once they take that? Absolutely not. Does it mean that they're experienced? Absolutely not.
And as far as the new inspectors at City Hall go right now, their contract is expected to go for the next 6 months. Now, this program was expected to only be temporary, put in place only to help out until, you know, the permits office in City Hall could get up and running and then go ahead and make their permanent hires, which they're in the process of trying to do right now. But they are, Norman, trying to get this contract extended for another 6 months.
Camille, who's administering this test and what's the criteria?
Well, we looked it up online, Norman. It is administered by the International Code Council. And what this all means is that it is national certification. You will be examined and you will be nationally recognized. You will be skilled in certain areas. We did go ahead and look up the one for the residential electrical inspector. Here's some specs on that particular test that you'll take if you go online. 60 multiple choice questions. It is an open book test and it'll last you about 2 hours. And Norman, one thing that we did notice is that anybody can take this test, which means if you pass, then of course you can be an electrical inspector. That includes me, Norman, and even you.
Yeah, even me. I could go in and guess and get the right answers and and then be qualified to go out and inspect electrical out. On the 60 Minutes Inside Live hot seat tonight, Jude Respino from Stewart Electrical Services. So what are your concerns, Mr. Respino?
Well, here we are now. What are we, a year and a half past
18
Katrina?
months, yeah.
18 months. And now we're on our 4th different inspection protocol. First, it was the normal inspectors that we had at the Safety and Permit Department. And Orleans Parish had one of the strongest and most stringent code enforcement group of inspectors that we've ever encountered. And I think that's a great thing because all the contractors were required to have Class A licenses and everybody that worked in your company had to have journeyman license. Well, then they lost a lot of people after Katrina. Then we went to the affidavit where anybody could sign on their own work. And we covered a story on that and how that left a lot of things.
So how do you know that these particular inspectors are putting homeowners and other property owners in general at risk?
Well, actually we don't. What I was going to say is then we hired out the subcontractors who were all local people, and they comprised a lot of the former electrical inspectors, and they were Class A electricians. And to me, that was working for us. We were getting inspections within 1 to 2 days, and these were all, you know, certified inspectors. They knew what they were doing. But so this new group, you're asking me about, what do we know about the new group?
Well, how do you know? How do you know they're putting? Again, I asked that question. How do you know they're putting homeowners and property owners in general at risk? You said you don't.
I don't.
So
because
what's the point?
Well, we have not had any one-on-one experience with this new group yet. It's a fairly new program, and you're allowed to finish your inspections with the group you started. So we started our inspections with the subcontracted local people, and they were working fine. They were certified licensed inspectors. The new group we haven't had encounters with. But if you're telling me that these guys can become inspectors with a 60-question multiple choice test online, it takes 2 hours. There's a lot more that goes into being a good electrical inspector than that.
Specifically so that other laymen like myself will understand this. What's the difference between somebody who's certified and licensed?
Well, a licensed electrician, you have a more extensive testing to go through. The certified inspectors, as they're talking about here, it sounds like it's a really easy test. It's open book and it's 60 multiple choice questions. Now, when you get out there, especially in the post-Katrina world, you have this flood damage wiring, which we've covered in several stories, and people are being told they don't have to replace flood damage wiring. They're not following the National Electric Code. They're not following UL standards. So do these new people that are coming in, they take a 60-question multiple choice test, do they really know what to look for in the post-Katrina New Orleans? I mean, our buildings are unique. The wiring methods we use are unique.
At what point, Mr. Espino, will you be confident enough to make a legitimate validation or inspection or an assessment of these particular inspectors?
Well, I think time will be the test. When we've encountered these folks a few times and our quality control inspector has gone out with them, I'll be able to report back to you what they're doing. Now, it's only a 6-month program, so I'm looking forward. Norman, this is a 10-year rebuilding process, right? Just like San Francisco and Kobe, Japan, we're not going to put New Orleans back together in 6 months or 2 years. So we need to be looking forward. How do we rebuild our safety and permit department in New Orleans to what it was before Katrina? They've only got 3 or 4 inspectors in the electrical department. They used to have 10. So we're a year and a half later and we haven't worked on that infrastructure. We keep hiring subcontractors and people from West Virginia. We need to build our own safety and permit department.
Well, we'll stay on top of this and see where it goes. Mr. Raspino, thanks for being